Hey friends, welcome to Gardening with Creekside. Today we are going to do a quick little project, give you a big picture overview of what we're going to do here at the front of our house. Literally standing in the kind of the front field that is from the front yard all the way to the berm. You can see I have got Johnny here with some beautiful lantana that we are going to plant today. I am going to tackle this one bed. This is one bed out of 3 for the front of our house. We're going to tackle that today because I can easily do it by myself. The other 2 are going to require machinery and Jerry's help. We'll get into that in just a minute. But today we are going to be planting this beautiful Luscious Citron lantana in the full blazing sun, no irrigation. These plants do great here. They thrive in this kind of location. So I'm going to kind of challenge you to think about adding some lantana, whatever kind of lantana it may be, to your garden in the spring, so that way in the summer and especially this fall, you have got gorgeous flowers that thrive in the heat, the humidity. Once they're established, they're drought tolerant, they attract pollinators, they're typically critter resistant, deer, rabbit resistant because they're tough, but they are non-stop bloomers that are no fuss, low maintenance plants. I think I just sold you on some lantana perhaps. All right, so let me just show you the whole, we're gonna give you the big picture, then we're gonna come in here and talk specifically about this flower bed, and then we're gonna get these guys planted. But just to give you an idea of where I am, so obviously there is the house with Johnny. This is the area right here that we're gonna be working on. I kind of, there's not really a name for this bed other than it's the daylily bed, because all this green mass, it looks like grass all the way down, those are just your classic yellow daylilies. They are stunning. My people who are coming for the signature experience at the end of June, they should be in full bloom. I just, the timing, absolute perfection. So they will be in full bloom when you are here. And it's a very, very simple. The quick little backstory. The whole reason that we planted these daylilies is because when we moved in our house 20 years ago, we moved in January. There was no grass, there was no landscaping. It was an absolute mud pit. And nothing is flat here at Creekside, so water was running. My mama, Mimi, had all of these daylilies, that nice mature size, probably like, you know, this size or even a little bit smaller, that we went through and divided them and planted these. So these were all completely free. These were all hand-me-downs from Mimi. They were little when we planted. It is a double row, basically all the way down to the bird feeders, and then we ran out of plants and we said, oh, we'll come back and add the second row. Well, of course, you know how that goes. We never did, but it is a beautiful border that we've planted initially to stop water from flowing through here. And of course we love them, so we just leave them alone. We're going to plant the citron in this area. Now, when I talk about we have 3 beds that we're going to ultimately be planting. We want, of course, the front of our house to be cohesive, because every time customers come, they look down, they can see the house, and we want the whole space to tie together. So the 3 beds are right here on the other side of the driveway where the azaleas are in full bloom. And this has proven to be a quite challenging flower bed thus far, because it should be full sun. I mean, clearly the azaleas, right? These are encore azaleas. They are full sun and they get they get enough sun to give them their beautiful flowers. Last year we planted lantana and they just sat. They didn't do anything. And I think what it was is a combination of the soil. We amended soil, the native soil, with some compost, and it was just bad stuff. It locked up, it didn't hold moisture, there was no nutrition there. So we got bad compost and it did not work. Secondly, you clearly see all of the woods, right? When you go in here and dig, I'm showing you warts and all. We clearly have not weeded here. I've got vetch coming out of my ears. But if you dig just very superficially, there will be all these little fine roots. And I really think it is the woods, the trees, sending out these very superficial roots and coming in. Now, yes, you see all the irrigation lines, but it just wasn't enough. And then you put in the combination of the bad compost, and they didn't have the nutrition and the water. We just could not keep them fed and happy enough. What we're going to do here is Jerry's going to come in We're gonna pull back the irrigation lines. Yes, we're gonna get the weeds out and yada, yada, yada. We're gonna come in and load it up with our Creekside blend, which is like 40% compost and 60% pine bark fines, or the other way around, I don't know. We're gonna load that up, and then he's gonna get the tractor and we're gonna like till it in, because that way it'll incorporate it and break up the bad compost that we have in there, and it'll break up all those little superficial roots. Then we can put the irrigation back and we can plant in there with we're gonna put more, a little bit of a different plant in there. We're gonna do the same color, but because the sun we're getting more shade here, we're gonna use the Surefire white begonias. Surefire white, of course, can do sun or shade, so that won't matter. They will get nice and tall, about 2 feet tall, beautiful, clear, white flowers with a yellow center. Great. Then I think what we're gonna do is we're not gonna use Citron, we're gonna use the Super Tunia Mini Vista Yellow. The Super Tunias are a little bit more forgiving. They can take a little bit more shade than say the Lantana can. So that will be fun. So we're gonna kind of go with that white and yellow theme here. So while we have the Surefire whites, and they'll come, you know, I don't know the exact design, but this whole bed will be filled with those Surefire whites and the Mini Vista Yellow. Then you'll have the same shade of yellow with the Citron will fill in right here. And then we're gonna walk really quickly over here to, this is just what we call the front porch bed. This is the bed that has the blue Atlas cedar. It is a dwarf horseman, has the tea olives in the back. We planted, you were with me when we planted in the fall, the pansies and the anemones. They are all in here. The anemones are still blooming. Super excited about that. In fact, I just cut a bouquet yesterday. They are starting to fade, but hey, you know, from a distance, they still look good. You can see that Chandler, who does an amazing job maintaining our grass and cutting it and just servicing our grass, we're gonna come in here and make this bed bigger. So you can see where he has come in here and just keeps this edge. Jerry told him, this is good grass, that's gonna be the flower bed. So we're gonna extend this flower bed up to that line, just because my tea olives, my horseman, all of this is growing, which is great, right? We love it. I'm slowly losing some space for my annuals. It is not the end of the world. It is totally fine. But we also have a bit of a water issue. When it really rains, the water just comes pouring through here. So we're going to do a little bit of work here. Clearly, I am going to need Jerry for this job as well. I am not going to be tackling this one alone, because it's going to be a good sized project to scrape out this, add more soil. We're going to bury the downspout line, yada, 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 all the things. Plant wise, in this flower bed, we're going to come back and we're going to repeat. We're going to have the Surefire white begonias again. We're going to bring in some of that Citron Lantana, tie that in, and then I may do another Mini Vista. Not Mini Vista Yellow, because those two yellows right beside each other I don't like. Maybe I'll do a pink, maybe I'll do indigo. I don't know what I'm going to do, but I'm going to do something fun and different as a little bit of a border. So that way when you look, you see Surefire white, you see Citron, you see yellow, you see all of that tied in together. But what we're going to work on right now is getting that Lantana planted in that flower bed. So let's move back over there. All right, my friends, let's turn our attention to today's project of getting this back bed filled up with these beautiful plants. All right, let's talk about Citron. Citron is one of the newer varieties as part of Proven Winners Lantana line. And as a Southerner, I love a good Lantana because, like I previously mentioned, they drink the sun, they are heat tolerant. Once established, they are drought tolerant, they're rabbit resistant, deer resistant. They have a little bit of a rough texture to them, and then they just come in a whole rainbow of colors and sizes. You can get certain Lantana like Citron, which is going to be in that 20 to 30 inch range. So a little bit smaller. You can even get some, I believe Lemon Tart is one also that I adore, that is even a little bit smaller than this, all the way up to the big, huge, giant ones. So they come in all these ranges of colors and sizes. They definitely need to have a minimum of 6 hours of sun. I plant them in the spring. I may have to water them, kind of keep an eye on them for the first 2, possibly 3 weeks if we don't get any rain. If we get some consistent rain, I don't have to worry about them. And if temperatures will stay normal, then we are good. After that 3-week period of having just to kind of keep an eye on them to make sure that they have enough water, then I literally do not water them for the rest of the season. I'm going to put down some biotone starter fertilizer. I'm going to put the Proven Winners time release, continuous release fertilizer in there, and then that's it. I don't need to come back with water soluble fertilizer because we've amended this soil. It's pretty rich organically, and they just are no fuss plants. Now, Citron, let's see if I can zoom in here, give you a nice kind of a close-up picture, is a softer yellow, a very kind of buttery yellow. It is going to work really nicely with the kind of the color palette for the wedding, because the wedding is it's a month from today, and so we got exactly 1 month, 4 weeks to go until the wedding. And so this is going to kind of be in those, not pastels, but just those softer colors. Right now, lemon tart, if you were looking online at Proven Winners between Citron and lemon tart, it could be hard to tell a difference. There's a little bit of a size difference. Citron's just a little bit bigger, but lemon tart is what I call more of like a big bird yellow, a very bright yellow. This is a softer yellow, so it depends on which way you want to go. I'm using lemon tart, but it's going to be in the berm on the house side, because from a distance it is going to stand out and it is going to be glorious. So it's all about what your color scheme is and then what maybe size you want, but Lantanas, y'all, are the way to go. They will go through all the way through a hard freeze. Your pollinators love them, your butterflies, your honeybees, your bumblebees, your hummingbirds love this plant. And a continuous bloomer, of course, you do not have to deadhead. As I mentioned, we are going to be working in this flower bed right here. It is on the side right of the field, and so while we are trying to take this grass and maintain it as we do like the long grass, we're still having to maintain and get control over the weeds and the Bermuda grass that is trying to creep in. Obviously we have fescue here, our grass is fescue, but the birds, other people have Bermuda, birds bring it in, whatever. So I am going to avoid, we have a patch right here that we're currently trying to get rid of. And honestly, the only way that you're going to get rid of Bermuda from coming into your beds is to spray some kind of herbicide. Trying to dig it out, because the roots go incredibly deep and they run. And if you leave one little morsel of a weed, or root rather, it just comes back and takes over. So you have to spray it continuously multiple times to truly get rid of it. Chandler is doing an excellent job of giving us a nice hard edge between the grass and the flower bed, but because I know that I have Bermuda creeping in right here, we're going to avoid this area. Basically, we're going to start kind of from the rock and work over to the driveway. Here in the middle, I have a hibiscus. You might be able to still see the sticks right here. This is a red hibiscus that Jerry started from seed many years ago. It was, gosh, I don't know how many years ago it was. So it has been here and it has faithfully survived every year, come back. It is more of a sentimental value than it is a great, beautiful addition to the garden. Yes, it's beautiful green and it does nice deep red dinner plate blooms on it, but there are better varieties of perennial hibiscus out there. But because this is something that he started from seed when we first started coming into the nursery business, this one's going to stay. Some plants just get grandfathered into the garden, and this is one, so it is going to stay. We're just going to fill in all the lantana all around it. I have not trimmed back the hibiscus yet this year, so I'm going to do that. It needs to be fed, so we're going to put some plant tone around her as well to give her a great start to the spring season. And because I am doing all of the same plant and I want a mass of citron through here, I'm not going to lay the containers out first. I'm just going to have my power planter auger with my 5-inch drill auger on it, drill my holes. We're going to put biotone down. We're going to go ahead and put the continuous release food down and then get these babies plopped in. It is as simple as that. So first we're going to take care of the hibiscus and then we're going to get these guys planted. Today's project is now complete, my friends. I'm looking at my trays, 41 Lantana planted in this space. The minimum spacing for Luscious Citron is about 18 inches. So that is what I did. Some may be a little bit closer, some may be a little bit further away. But yeah, I mean, it's really easy when you're planting the same plant because you don't have to really worry about, you know, drilling your holes to make sure that a certain plant goes in a certain location. Got the holes drilled with that 5-inch heavy duty auger, of course, from Power Planner, and makes it so fast, less work, work smarter, not harder. And then got biotone in the holes, got the Proven Winners continuous release in the holes. And then I thought I was pretty smart. This is the first time I had thought about this. So what I did is went ahead and prepped all of the containers, pulled out the tags, and then I went ahead and pulled out all the plants from their PW cups. Just put them back in the tray. So I had the naked plants in the tray and then walked around, dropped them in the hole, and then once everybody was in their hole, came back and planted. That made the clean up a lot easier, and just the planting process went a lot faster. Again, that's kind of easy to do when you're doing the same plant because, or unless you know exactly how many plants you have. So that's just a thought, just something that I thought of on the fly. But super excited about this area. It is going to fill in. Now for a little while, it just may sit, and that's okay because Lantana loves it hot. The little grassy things that you see, those are daffodils. So those are my leftover daffodil foliage. You can see I have more down here on this side. As they begin to yellow, which some of them are, once they turn yellow, then I can come in here and just cut them back. You leave the daffodil foliage so that it is gathering energy and putting it into the bulb for next year's blooms. If it's not, if they're looking like this in 4 weeks from the wedding, then obviously I'm gonna go ahead and clean them up. I'm not gonna kind of leave them out here like this for right now, but of course I want to have beautiful daffodils next year, so I am going to leave the foliage for as long as I can here, but that is the deal on that. So another small project is now checked off of the list. Makes me happy. The more plants I can get in the ground, the more projects I can get checked off, the less stressed Jenny feels. I made a master list of all the to-do things that I could think of before the wedding that need to be done. And it's quite a list. So we are moving with purpose around here, but it feels great to get these plants in the ground. And as always, thank you for gardening with Creekside. The bugs are out too. We'll see you in the next video. Bye, friends.